Hey everybody, this is Jerome Medicine from Detroit with your Spirit Lake Fantasy Football Week 5 recap. Let's start with the Vikes. Hey, we won a game. Wicked. McNabb is still bouncing passes. He's terrible. Really, really bad. The fact he actually was worse in this game, even though we won, because AP was good and our defensive line was ridiculous. So, great. We won a game. Nothing's changed other than a record, unfortunately. Until Nab goes, it is what it is. It's kind of a lost season until we stop playing him. Let's go around the league. Game 1 was Miller and AJ. Miller, Staff, and Gore put up some numbers. They were great. However, Miller pulled a Hassel, who, when Hassel was pulling a Miller previously, started no tight end. Absolutely zero tight end. Leads him to 0-5. 0-5 for Sunshine. Terrible start. AJ, no RB score. At least that's what my note says. So I'm going to go by it. Seabass scores 20 points. Hey, look at that guy from Florida State. He's great. He's good at kicking a football and date rape. However, AJ's got some QB problems with Freeman, etc. However, he moves to 3-2, which 3-2, as you can imagine, is towards the top of the heap in the Gentlemen's Division. In Game 2, E versus the Jew, Cam Newton is great for Jeremy. Great keeper value. I have a feeling he'll be keeping him for a couple years. However, no one else on his team scored more than 10 points. E behind Rivers and Debo and his 20 points take E to the promised land of another win versus the Jews, which is really great anytime you can beat the Jews. Silky versus Dylan. Dylan, great performance from Foster and Shady. They definitely could have they could be the number one RB situation here in the league. And also AJ Green keeps performing. Watched him a lot when he played at Georgia. He's a great player. If Dylan didn't have Foster, I'm guessing he'd be his keeper. Silky moves to 5-0. You just can't stop him even in a rough week in which they don't have his number one player, Rice. But Jimmy Graham keeps performing, now the number one tight end in fantasy. And also Sean Green comes from nowhere with a ground and pound touchdown and a close win for Silky. Game 4. Hassel versus Lou, another stepkid, stepdad battle. Stepdads moved to 5-0 versus the stepkids. 5-0. Hassel only has his Eagles defense in double figures. The fun part of this was BP started Alex Smith in a win, and Megatron just continues to be a great player. The snake bite of the week, which actually featured the top 2 scoring teams in the league, which was, believe it or not, Davey versus Zoller. Great pick by the snake bite by AJ, getting these top 2 scores. A-Rod and F-Jack's been great for Davey. And as we said, he's the number 2 scorer in the league. Unfortunately, he went up against BZ, who had the top 2 scorers in the league this week. Eli goes for over 20. AP scores 3 touchdowns in the first freaking quarter. Including, I love that run in his last one where he basically just carries Patrick Peterson with it. Because Patrick Peterson's a big dude, but AP basically threw him off like it was nothing. So BZ moves into second place overall, second place in the Stepdads Division 4-1. Davey falls 3-2. But again, great pick on the snake bite between these two literal powerhouses. No old man on the back porch today due to circumstances beyond our control. See, he may have called in sick because he's drunk. Now let's move to the top 3 questions. Before we get started, you may have noticed there's new trophies. On the league site, the commission's found a way to award trophies on a weekly basis and also trophies at the end of the year automatically, so they don't have to do it themselves. So basically does it every week with little legwork they did on the front end. So see those. I think some people have been awarded some of them after the fact. Number 3 is something that I've brought up before. Actually, this is the first time I brought it up, but also GM Silky has brought it before. Kickers. Kickers score a lot of points in this league. Seabass scored 20 points this week. There were three players that scored equal to or as much as him this week. Debo scored 20, Eli scored 20.4, and AP scored 24. Next on the list, tied with Debo, is Seabass. Again, please, can we look at the kicking situation at the end of the year? We don't need to ridiculously change the scoring system. Can we just give them the points that they earn? 3 points is 3 points. I don't care if it's a 19-yarder or a 50-yarder. The percentage of points scored by kickers is vast. You make Seabass the 4th best player in the NFL last week. I don't think he was. Number 2, continuing story from last week, stepdads are 5-0 against the stepkids. Most of these games haven't been close. E would be 5th in the stepdad division by points. And also, right now, for the first few weeks, it looked like Silky's team was number 1 with a bullet. But right now, you kind of look at a triumvirate of at the top with Silky, Zoller, and Nikkonen. All have been impressive. All are kind of leaps and bounds ahead of everyone else in scoring. So the stepdads continue to dominate here, kids. And the number 1 comment that we have is, how is Nab still on a fantasy roster? The fact that he's actually starting on an NFL is one thing, but the fact that he's on an NFL roster is embarrassing, Jaco. Jaco, we're all looking at you. Even though you might be watching this by yourself, we're all looking at you right now because you're an embarrassment to the league by keeping McNabb on your team.